We're at E3, and I just want to say this place is the only place that makes the guys at Comic-Con look like Ocean's 13.
Top awesome, embarrassing, and bizarre E3 moments. The Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3, is one of the most coveted events in the gaming industry, promising high-profile game announcements, exclusive reveals, and a chance to salivate over titles that won't be out until the holidays at best, or several years later at worst. It only makes sense that E3 would have its fair share of entertaining moments. Some of these are fairly awesome, while others cross over into the downright bizarre side of our industry. Either way, plenty of fun has been had over the past few decades. Join us as we look back at the top most awesome, embarrassing, and bizarre moments of E3 history en route to E3 2015.
Do you guys not have Starbucks in here? I mean,
Kinect Star Wars debacle. E3 2010 was not a good showing for Microsoft. The company chose to emphasize way too many Kinect games, many which ended up being awful. Kinect Star Wars was the tip of the spear, and its demonstration, which was criticized for being staged and not all representative of the one-to-one motion sensing movement, only further buried the console. Kinect may have been a success on the Xbox 360, but you wouldn't have known it after seeing this Star Wars demo. Sony announces pricings for the PS4. Sony already had an advantage going into E3 2013, mostly due to Microsoft shooting itself in the foot over and over again with its Xbox One policies. After the latter priced its Xbox One console with Kinect at $499, Sony upped the ante at its press conference and confirmed its console to be priced at $399.
PlayStation 4 will be available at $399.
Then again, it's not as if Sony has always been good with its pricing announcements. Gabe Newell and Valve appear at Sony press conference. Valve Corporation had stated for years that it had no interest in PS3 or bringing any of the games to the console. Heck, it was even renowned for letting EA Game Studios port the Orange Box to PS3.
So I'd really like to thank everyone at Sony for their gracious hospitality and for not repeatedly punching me in the face.
Of course, prior to E3 2010, Valve confirmed its absence was enough to make people suspicious. The announcement of Portal 2 for PS3, predicated by GLaDOS herself making an appearance, only cemented the fact that hell could indeed freeze over at E3. Jamie Kennedy somehow brings Activation lower. If Giant Enemy Crab became the biggest embarrassment for next-gen console titles, E3 27 host for Activision, Jamie Kennedy, showed that there were no depths a host couldn't sink into. From being drunk to making fun of gamers in attendance, claiming that video game fans made Comic-Con fans look like Ocean's 13, and pursuing horrible jokes, calling Neversoft the first game for Viagra, Kennedy was routinely insulted by devs on stage. One audience member even yelled that a certain dev was funnier than you.
who said that? You never get out of the house.
Fittingly enough, Kennedy went on to act in the Hungover games in 2014. Never changed, Jamie. The glorious 20 minutes of Half-Life 2. E3 2003. At that point, Valve was only known for its original Half-Life, fostering the modding community and laying low. Rumors had been swelling about Half-Life 2, but no one expected a nearly 20-minute long blowout video showcasing the new setting, characters, and above all, the awesome new visuals and physics. Sega Saturn launches at E3. Speaking of Sega, the company had begun its first of many decisions which would lead it to its downfall in the hardware business. In order to gain an early advantage on Sony's PS1, Sega announced shortly after its 1995 keynote presentation that Sega Saturn would immediately be available at retailers due to high consumer demand. Retailers, to put it kindly, were pissed. Sony announces PS3 pricing, has the worst conference ever. While Sony has been experiencing immense success in the past few years, especially with the PS4, it didn't always have the public's love. Case in point, its E3 2006 conference where it revealed the PS3 would cost a whopping $599.
It requires huge financial investment, $599 US, but we must take risks to reap the rewards.
Followed by a disappointing array of games, horrific demonstrations, and arguably the most memorable moment in E3 history to date. Sony announces pricing for the PS1. Sony has a rather interesting history with its pricing announcements, especially when it came to its competitors on the same show. In its 1995 keynote, SCEA president Steve Race simply approached the stage, said the words $299 and walked off.
$299.
Not only did it have a positive effect on the crowd, but it also distinguished Sony from Sega, which announced its Saturn to be retailing for $399. The Giant Enemy Crab. It wasn't enough that Game Republic's Genji, Days of the Blade looked bad for a PS3 title, or that it featured a revolutionary new mechanics in real-time weapons change, or even that it appeared at an already bottom-of-the-barrel E3 press conference like Sony's in 2006 rather. The game became a joke because the developer alluded to battles that really took place in ancient Japan before showcasing a fight with a giant enemy crab.
To flip over this crab on its back, and you attack its weak point for massive damage.
The sheer ridiculousness of this didn't go unnoticed by anyone, and GEC grew into a meme that would attack our senses for massive damage for years. Konami finally loses it. What? Just what? Let's try to summarize why Konami's E3 2010 conference was so bizarre and awkward that it was awesome. Muscular lucha libre wrestlers chopping each other's chests, dancing games, threatening men seemingly ill from Silent Hill standing in the background and plotting murder. Producer Tak Fuji seemingly speaking from another dimension while on LSD no less, about 99 Nights 2.
You can compete in the online leaderboards and battle with armies of the more than 1 million troops.
Kinda makes you wonder how Hideo Kojima stayed this long. So what do you guys think? What's the worst and best things that you've seen at E3? Leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, I'm Ryan Smith for Gaming Bolt, signing out.